Meowdy y'all, and welcome back to another video. A common question that gets asked in the Stardew Valley community is, who should I marry? And truthfully, there isn't any difference between who you marry, it's just personal preference. But what if there were significant differences? What if when we marry Shane, Jas comes to live with us? I mean, why doesn't she already? That's what we'll be discussing today, so buckle up. If you don't know me, I'm Sauter. I make Stardew Valley YouTube videos featuring game challenges, lore and theory crafting and analyses, so if you've got any feedback or suggestions for the next video, feel free to leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button for more. Learning more about the relationship between Jas, Shane, and Marnie requires a little digging. She refers to Marnie as Aunt Marnie in a variety of her dialogues. Oh, are you looking for Aunt Marnie? But Marnie is also Shane's aunt. My nephew Shane has been staying at my place the last few months. He helps me out with the chickens, so I'm not complaining. So what is the relationship between Jas and Shane? Get Jas to 10 hearts and talk to her on a Sunday and she'll say, "Did you know Shane's my godfather? He was a friend of my parents. They died." If you eventually find secret note number 11, we can see this photo of Marnie and Jas when she was even younger. We can build a sort of timeline with this information. Let's say Jas is around 6 years old right now. How is it possible that there's a picture of Marnie with baby Jas if Shane has only been staying at the ranch these past few months? I theorize that Shane was living in Zuzu City, which is where he met his friends, and they had Jas. But after becoming godfather, there was, of course, a bit of a transitional period where Shane tried his best to take care of Jas, but between balancing work and a brand new child on his plate after the death of his friends, it's going to be difficult, to say the least. Marnie, wanting to help out, offers to take Jas in, allowing Shane to grieve and pick up the pieces. A few years go by, and Jas is still with Marnie, now a little older, and Shane is missing everything. He hasn't been around to see her grow and develop. This prompts him to move away from Zuzu City and into Pelican Town, moving into Marnie's ranch so he can be in Jas's life. I believe Shane used to live in Zuzu City for a few reasons. At the luau, speak to him and he says, "Wow, you don't get hot pepper chutney like this in the big city." And in his 10 heart event, he invites you to see the Zuzu City Tunnelers game and asks what you thought of the game. If you say, "Noisy, it makes me appreciate how peaceful it is back home," he'll say, "Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Me, I get bored with Pelican Town sometimes, but I like that you're different. We balance each other out." If you say, "Fun, Pelican Town seems really boring in comparison," he says, "Oh really? I'm surprised. Didn't you move to Stardew Valley to escape the noise of the city? I mean, don't get me wrong, I totally understand. My life in Pelican Town is pretty bland, you know?" With the timeline sort of built, let me present my take on the question, should Jas live with us after we marry Shane? No, I don't think so. Let me explain. On one hand, I do think it would be sweet to have her follow her Uncle Shane, her godfather, her small connection with her parents, and live on the farm with us. And from a gaming perspective, it would be really interesting to have this unique dynamic of marrying Shane and having our own stepdaughter in the mix. However, to take her away from Marnie, I don't know about that. If we look at Jas's dialogue, we get even more clues concerning the dynamic between Jas and Marnie. If you gift her coffee or a triple shot espresso, she says, "Oh, Aunt Marnie doesn't let me drink coffee yet." If you gift her any alcoholic beverage, she says, I'm not supposed to drink this. Isn't it for adults?" Then she has even more dialogues concerning Marnie. "Sometimes I look for crawdads in the river. Don't tell Aunt Marnie. But I fed one to a cow once. She loved it. Aunt Marnie won't let me go out after 6 o'clock. It's not fair. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore." And at Ginger Island, she says, "Aunt Marnie told me not to get burnt, but when I walk fast, it feels cool, so I think I'll be okay." Notice the pattern in these dialogues. If we replace the words Aunt Marnie with my mom, for example, it would be even more obvious what kind of a role Marnie plays in Jas's life. "My mom won't let me drink that. My mom won't let me go out after 6 o'clock. Don't tell my mom I fed a crawdad to a cow once." It is Marnie who is adding structure, routine, and general guidance to her life. It is Marnie that is encouraging Jas to be safe and be responsible. Of course, I'm sure that Penny plays a part in this as well, and so does Shane, but not to this extent. Jas is a child who could have easily become lost in the system after losing both of her parents, and she easily could have a myriad of developmental issues because of the trauma that she has dealt with in her life so far, but let's look at the facts. She's a good kid. She works hard with Penny, who says, "We don't have a school here, but I'm doing my best to give Vincent and Jas a proper education. Every child deserves a chance to be successful." Jas is very good at math and reading. Vincent is good at, well, he has an active imagination. I've been teaching Jas and Vincent about dwarvish archaeology. Jas is curious about the origins of the dwarves, but Vincent is mainly interested in dwarvish weapons. She is bright, responsible, and kind. After Leo moves into Pelican Town and you gain 10 hearts with him, he says, "I'm sure Jas and Vincent thought I was weird at first. I accidentally squawked at the school table a few times. That didn't help. It was a big change for everyone, but we're good friends now." Sometimes kids can be really mean and they can shut out other kids that they deem weird or too different, but this didn't happen at all with Leo. Jas and Vincent are really kind and sweet towards him. I firmly believe that these qualities that Jas has have been refined and taught by Marnie. To take her away from this structured life seems really unfair. Now, I'm not saying the farmer and Shane couldn't do a good job, but I just don't see how dragging her away from her home is going to do any good. I think a better solution would be Jas visiting the farm and Shane visiting Marnie's ranch. That makes a lot of sense to me. Now, there is a concerning dialogue from Jas though. Shane's gone a lot and Aunt Marnie is busy all the time, so I have to invent my own games. I'm thankful for all my toys. So, although it's obvious that Marnie adds a lot of structure to Jas's life, she obviously has her hands full with running her business and taking care of the animals. It would be nice if Marnie had a little more time to spend with Jas. Concerning Shane being gone a lot, I think this is Jas referring to him working so much. Monday through Friday, if the community center is not restored yet, he leaves Marnie's ranch at 7:10 a.m. and finishes work at 5 p.m. then heads to the saloon and doesn't head home until 11:10 p.m. Jas is already asleep around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. depending on the day. Because of work and Shane hanging out at the saloon, there's just not a lot of opportunities for them to hang out. This actually brings up an interesting point. I created a poll and asked if Jas should live with the farmer and Shane, and I saw quite a few people suggest that since the farm and Marnie's ranch are so close together, Jas could just walk over whenever she wants to. But the scale of Stardew Valley is a little difficult to understand until you look at the schedules of some of the characters. Shane leaves the ranch at 7:10 a.m., but he doesn't get to Joja Mart until 9 a.m. We're assuming he's walking at a normal, average pace. For Jas to walk from the ranch to the farm all by herself would just be a little too crazy. Could you imagine if you chose the wilderness farm and poor Jas had to fight off monsters on her way to the house? Of course, one could easily say, well, Shane just needs to stop drinking and then he could spend more time with Jas. But even after his 6-heart event where he intends to go to counseling, then in his 7-heart event where he says he's just drinking sparkling water now, he is still found at the saloon, which is fine. The saloon offers plenty of non-alcoholic beverages, and let's be real, there isn't much to do in Pelican Town. After working a horrible, miserable job, I think it's okay to go to the one place where you can socialize and hang out for a few hours. Jas and Shane already don't really spend that much time together, although they obviously love each other very much. To rip her away from Marnie, her main support system, to move in with the farmer and Shane, who haven't actually proven that they can take care of Jas all by themselves, would be a huge mistake, and it's not fair for Jas to have to pay for those mistakes. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think Jas should live with the farmer and Shane after getting married? Should she stay with Marnie permanently? Should she maybe spend the weekends at the farm and that would be enough? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you've got a suggestion for the next video, or some headcanons that y'all have and want to share, be sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to subscribe to catch my next video. I'll be making more Stardew Valley videos, so keep an eye out. See y'all next time. Bye!